Mr. Sujarniko, Deputy Minister for Coordinating Ministry of Human Development and Culture of Indonesia, Madam Michiko Miyamoto, Country Director of Highway Indonesia, Bapak Basilius, representative from Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs, representatives from ASEAN countries, United States of America, New Zealand, and EU, European Union countries, representatives from FAO, Satgas, and the Bali process, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, my minister would like me to deliver her apology for not being able to attend this important meeting. She's actually still having a jet lag due to her recent travels to the US, and then she continues a series of meetings in Papua, West Papua and Papua, and the minister asked me to deliver her address. To close this meeting today, please allow me to read the remarks. Fishing at sea not only imposes high costs but also high risks against the fishers. ILO once revealed that more than 24,000 fishers lose their lives every year. Fishing industry is also a vulnerable sector to human rights abuses, such as human trafficking and modern slavery, against those who work on fishing vessels. Human trafficking victims are perceived as cheap labor, which shall reduce the high cost of fishing activity. These trafficking victims are not only paid poorly, but also kidnapped at sea, endure mental and physical abuses, and working under indecent and unhealthy environment. However, it was only until 2015 that we started to talk about the human rights aspect when we discussed fisheries industry. Thanks to the coverage of the Associated Press at that time. Meanwhile, one of the trafficking victims who was covered has been sold, kidnapped, and abused on a fishing vessel for nearly 2 decades. Indonesia began to uncover such conditions when we conducted analysis and evaluation over more than 1,000 fishing vessels built outside of Indonesia, or we call it export vessels, in 2015. Following the momentum created through moratorium against export vessels in Indonesia. Out of this analysis and evaluation process, and with the assistance from IOM Indonesia, we identified over 1,000 trafficking victims who work as fishers on some exporting vessels in Bejina and Ambon, Maluku. This human trafficking and fishing activity, as we found in these areas, were later defined as fisheries crime and can also be classified as transnational organized crime in fisheries industry. Followed our discovery on human trafficking in fishing activity, Indonesia had done actions to address human rights abuses in fisheries industry. We have addressed the situation in Bejina and Ambon by returning 1,342 fishermen who were trafficking victims to their respective homes in Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Myanmar, and Laos. Our court has sentenced 8 people in Bejina, including company's manager, who have been imposed 3 years imprisonment and fined for 160 million rupiah per person, or US dollar 12,000. And 5 vessels carrying victims of trafficking have been confiscated. Despite the convictions, we feel that such punishment was not severe and only targeted physical actors or physical perpetrators. Heavier punishment is needed to promote deterrent effect, and we need to start pursuing the mastermind who organized such terrible crime. In Ambon, CEOs of 3 major fisheries companies have been appointed as suspects on labor crime. We also negotiated the fisheries companies in Ambon to pay the fishing crew's outstanding salary, which amounted to $900,000 before the crews were repatriated. Our efforts also extend to Indonesian fishing crews who were being trafficked to foreign fishing vessels. In July 2016, Task Force 115 cooperated with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in returning Indonesian trafficking victims employed on a foreign fishing vessel from Dargahan, Iran. Our court has sentenced the controller of the manning agency in Indonesia, who is affiliated with an agency in Taiwan, for 3 years imprisonment and fined 120 million rupiah. In encountering human trafficking in the fisheries industry, Indonesia adopts 4R, as you are already familiar: release, rescue, remediate, and repatriate, as quick win action to address trafficking victims. As we oftentimes face human trafficking in fishing activity, we realize that communication often hinders the efficiency of our investigation, especially in identifying trafficking victims. In cooperation with the International Organization for Migration, or IOM, we are now developing an early detection system of human trafficking conduct using the most advanced technology. This system shall serve as a solution to facilitate communication between port officials and potential trafficking victims on board fishing vessels. Other than cases, Indonesia has also issued policies and regulations regarding the protection of human rights in the fishing industry. At the moment, the Ministry of Manpower is leading the initial process to ratify ILO Work and Fishing Convention number 188. Our Minister and the Ministry of Transportation, and by get very strong support from Coordinating Minister of Memberikan Affairs, heavily involved to provide data revealed related to work in fishing industry. The ratification of this convention is our government's current priority to address human trafficking in fisheries industry. While the ratification of ILO 188 is underway, Indonesia has already adopted the standards stipulated under the ILO C-188 under the Minister of Fisheries Regulation number 42, year 2016 on work at sea agreement. Under this regulation, fisheries industry are obligated to ensure minimum working age of 18 years old, impose maximum 8 hours of working per day, and guarantee insurance for all fish workers. Moving forward, the Minister wants to evaluate our cooperation with countries that have problems with Indonesian fish workers and to educate our fish workers before working on foreign fishing vessels or foreign fishing fleets via cooperation with the Ministry of Manpower. The Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries also has issued regulations to prevent future human rights violations in the fishing industry, namely Minister Regulation 35/2015 on Human Rights System and Certification for Fisheries Business. Second, Minister Regulation number 2/2017 on requirement and mechanism of human rights certification for fisheries business. Through this certification policy of human rights in the Indonesian fishing industry, Indonesia will perhaps become the first country that issues a human rights certification for seafood products. This certification will provide an added value to our seafood exports in the form of traceability and subsequently increases our fish product competitiveness anywhere in the world. Going forward, human rights protection policy will be integrated with the amendment of Indonesian fisheries law in order to ensure fisheries industry to comply with business and human rights principles. Protection and respect can only be justified when states introduce and implement firm and clear policies to protect the human rights of workers in fishing industry, which includes access to remedy for victims of human rights violation. We have to create breakthroughs and make strong commitments to protect and respect human rights of those workers in fishing industry. One of the breakthroughs that I recognize is the establishment of Sea Fisheries Project by ILO, which aim to strengthen coordination to combat labor exploitation and trafficking in fisheries. I'm hoping that this initiative will serve as a sustainable communication platform for Southeast Asian countries to discuss matters related to human trafficking in fisheries industries. As an intergovernmental organization, ILO holds the role to connect various stakeholders, from governments to private sectors, to address human rights issues in fisheries industries. ILO must take leadership role to increase the awareness and drive actions from governments, private sectors, and members of civil societies to address this matter of humanity. Collaboration must be strengthened between intergovernmental organizations. So we have FAO, who is responsible for fisheries management. We have ILO, and we have IOM, whose work related to fish and migrant workers. We also have UNODC. We also have Interpol, who can take the leadership in driving policy and enforcing the laws. There are also countries who have the resources to influence global leaders, such as Norway, US, Australia, EU, and others. These parties must work together and generate orchestrated efforts to encourage countries to pay more respect towards human rights in fisheries industries. Countries, no matter if they are the actors or the origin of trafficking victims, must take the action and responsibility to eliminate human rights abuses in the fishing industry or fisheries industry. It could be by creating the policy or to punish the actors to create deterrent effect against the perpetrators. By protecting and respecting human rights in fisheries industry, we will provide the world with seafood products that are managed responsibly and not tainted with trafficking, slavery, and other human rights violations. It must be remembered that behind the seafood that we eat lie sweat, tears, and hard works of fishermen. Bali, March 28, 2018, Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, Susi Pudjiastuti. Thank you very much.